All right, hello everybody and welcome to the Top Producer Show. My name is Brandy and this is Jeff, and we have Bad Kitty with us as well. So the whole point of this show is to show you guys what exactly does it take to become a top producer. And this is mainly directed towards network marketing. However, a lot of the stuff that we use can be used in other industries. Jeff and I own 3 other businesses outside of teaching what to do in network marketing, and we've also built in network marketing, and everything that we've done we've been able to use in our other businesses. So you can convert it over. So anywho, we are on the book Atomic Habits, and we are on chapter 4 today, which is Make It Obvious. So with enough practice, you can pick up on the cues that predict certain outcomes without consciously thinking about it. So automatically your body encodes the lessons that are learned through experience, which we all know this, like babies when they learn to crawl first, then they learn to eventually walk, and it's something that is just learned as you get older, and then at a certain point you're not conscious about walking, you just do it. So we can't always explain what it is we are learning, but learning is happening all along the way, and your ability to notice relevant cues in any given situation is the foundation for every habit you have. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So putting yourself in a situation where it is going to make you go forward and create good habits, which is where he comes into doing an exercise to know whether or not you are doing good habits. Now, is that kind of what you're going to go over today, or am I going to go over that exercise?
You can go over the exercise.
I can do it. Okay. So he has an exercise where it's called the habit scorecard. So he's like, you want to basically take the list and make a list of what is your day look like. I get up, I shut off my alarm clock, I go brush my teeth, and I go make myself some breakfast. And then it's just the whole day is like that. And then what you do with that list is you go next to the habit or what you do throughout the day, and you give it a score, a plus sign for a good habit, a minus sign for a bad habit, and then an equal sign for about a neutral habit. Now, there's no such thing from what he said as a good habit from a bad habit, depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Like, what is the goal when you're setting these habits? Because some people's goal is just to be healthier. So getting up, brushing your teeth, like those are new. The brushing the teeth is good for you, but reading a book, or he's like, if your goal is to be healthier and you're eating a bagel or a cupcake for breakfast, he's like, obviously that's going to be bad. He's like, but you want to base your judgment on the goal that you're trying to reach. So with that, that's pretty much what I got out of the book, is just you're going to be unconscious until you make them a conscious cue. And then you got to evaluate what exactly it is that you're doing each day. And is it helping you towards your goal, or is it not helping you towards your goal? So Jeff, I'm going to turn this over to you. I can go on my computer and do that, dear.
Oh, well, how do I get back?
You swipe down.
Okay. So I was just looking at how the functionality of Facebook Live. And so the first law is make it obvious. This is chapter 4, the man who didn't look right. He talks about the human brain is a prediction machine. It's a prediction machine. So what it does is it automatically looks for stuff that kind of makes life easier, that makes life more enjoyable. It says with enough practice, you can pick up the cues that predict certain outcomes without consciously even thinking about it. We underestimate how much of our brains and bodies can kind of function without us, right? If you think about how your heart beats, if you think about breathing in, breathing out, you're not thinking about any of that. It's just automatic habit, subconscious level, keep you alive. you don't need to be aware of a clue for a habit to begin, which I thought was kind of interesting. But then again, it does make sense that if you're uncomfortable in any place, your brain automatically is looking for a way to get comfortable. And sometimes you don't even consciously know that you're looking, but you're looking. If habit remains mindless, you can't expect to improve it. So yeah, you're gonna have to become conscious. You're gonna have to become aware. And I think I wrote in here at some point something that I learned from David Bird, but then he followed up with the exact same statement at the end. So we need to what he called a point and call system. A point and call system was from the airlines, where they're like, okay, guys, I'm putting the checklist away, and I'm reading the checklist, and the checklist says, we have fuel, we have, electricity, we have a radio, we have staff, we have the pilot, we have the co-pilot, and you're just calling off basic stuff that everybody knows. But this point and call makes you aware of everything that's going on. So if it is obvious, something that would be overlooked, you're going to catch it because you're reading off these different instruments, and different things going on. And he talked about a plane. He goes, why don't you have that in life? I heard a different version of this. And the version I heard is there's 168 hours in a week. And if you literally write down everything that's going on, not only are there good habits and bad habits, but there's a ton of shit we all do that is not necessarily helping us. Now, whether we call that a good or bad habit, I don't know if it's so much a habit, because people find different things to screw around and do. But the habit of maybe watching TV, the habit of surfing Facebook, the habit of surfing the internet, the habit of trying to entertain yourself versus educate yourself, all of those things. And then Brandy gave the list. Are these good or bad habits? Well, of course, it depends on your goal. Now, there are certain things that are just bad. Heroin's a bad habit no matter what, unless you're trying to no longer be around. It's just a bad habit, crystal meth, crack. I mean, we can go on and on. There's a lot of things that are just bad habits. Watching the news, that's just a bad habit, right? I mean, it's not helping you at all. Sometimes a habit can be good for one person and bad for another. Eating a huge breakfast with a bunch of carbs. It sounds amazing, actually. But it's bad for weight loss, but it's good for bodybuilding. So it just, it's just an example. All habits serve you in some way, even the bad ones, which is why you repeat them. And a lot of people say, well, why would necessarily a bad habit serve you? Well, you're going to always lean towards bad habits that make you comfortable. You're going to lean towards bad habits that entertain you. This is why when you're supposed to clean up your house, you watch a movie. This is why when you're supposed to read a book or get something done, you're playing video games, you're surfing the internet, you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Why? Because in most cases, success is uncomfortable, and successful habits usually think about this, successful habits take more effort on your part. Successful habits use more of your brain than entertaining yourself. So educating yourself takes more effort than entertaining yourself, which is why 99% of people are broke. Broke to the point where if I said, hey, let's leave right now and leave for a week or 2 weeks or a month, most people can't do it. They don't have the money. They don't have the funds. There's all the things that they don't have. So that's what success is. Success is getting yourself to do these things that are easy to do. I mean, reading's easy, but what's easier? Surfing the internet. What's easier? Playing video games. What's easier? Watching a movie, watching TV. Those are easier things. And people seek the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is always entertainment. So that's kind of something that stuck with me as I was reading this. Or when I read that particular statement. Does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? So these are questions you can ask yourself when you're looking at the habits, going, hey, is this really serving me? Is this really, now you can do everything, right? It's possible to do everything. But if just for instance, using video games, because video games was something that I was really into at one point. I eventually looked at it and said, okay, I'm spending X number of times on video games. So I said, you know what? I really need to tailor this. I can still play, But I've got to get everything else done first, just like you do with a little kid, right? You got to get everything else done first that's important and play video games at the end of the day rather than during the middle or whenever. Because you're never going to build a business. You're never going to be successful playing video games in the middle of the day. No one does that. Just like you're not going to be successful, I decided not to lift weights. I decided not to work out during prime time hours. Prime time hours being basically 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock, East Coast, West Coast. So that's why, people are like, you're so insane for working out after 12 o'clock. Who does that? I was like, successful people, because I'm using my time during the middle of the day to actually do things where you can get ahead. I just moved the activity. Now, I also eliminated activities that I was like, okay, eventually I was like, this isn't serving me at all. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting smarter. There's nothing to talk about. And what I realized is I was hanging out with less successful people doing it. So I was looking at the monetary. How much money do the people make who are doing this activity on a regular basis? And most of them were broke. So I was like, I can't do that shit anymore. I need to do something else. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be unsuccessful. I don't want to be looked at as a kid or a child that doesn't have any responsibility. I don't want to teach my niece and nephew to do dumb shit. I want them to teach them to be successful, because that way there's less stress, right? It doesn't solve all problems, but it solves a lot. So does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity? So if you want the identity of a successful person, would you list the stuff you're doing? Would you list the stuff you're doing as something that's making you successful? And most of the time, we're all doing stuff that's not making us successful. If you want to be successful, if you don't want to be successful, maybe you're doing the stuff that's perfect for you. But this show is about becoming a producer, so it would only make sense that's what we're talking about. Habits that reinforce your desired identity are usually really good. So if you have this desired identity that you put out there, I want to be a successful network marketer, I want to be a successful business owner, I want to be a successful, how do I turn on the...
I can go help her.
Yeah, go help her. Sorry, we got appointments going on and a business. We got multiple businesses to run at the same time, so there's always somebody who needs something. Notice how you're spending your time. Is it positive or is it negative? The process of behavior change always starts with awareness. And that's what I got from David Bird. David Bird said all change starts with awareness. All change starts with awareness. So you become aware of something first, and then you can make a conscious choice of it. The problem is most of the time, most of the stuff we're doing, what's up, Dallas? Most of the stuff we're doing throughout the week, throughout the day, we're not conscious that we're doing it. We're just falling back into the old habits we probably created when? We created during college, we created during high school, we created during elementary school, we created as a kid, and we're still doing some of that dumb shit. Why? Because we've never evaluated how we're actually using our time. There's 168 hours. Hey, don't do it. There's 168 hours in a week. If you tracked getting up, getting ready, taking a shower, eating, going to the restroom, that whole list, going to work, coming home, the average person is missing somewhere between 30 to maybe as many as 45 hours a week, unaccounted for. Most people cannot account for it. They're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. The reason you have no idea what you're doing during that time is because there is no plan. There is no plan. And a high performance person has never come into your life and gone, let's evaluate all the dumb shit you're doing. Let's evaluate all the stuff you're doing that is not going to make you successful. So,
Don't bite me.
With that being said, she's bad.
She is bad. I moved her.
Yeah, she just tried to bite me. So that's our cat is hungry. It's like I know you guys are doing your show, but I'm going to bite you instead. So that's kind of what I got out of this chapter. The clues, the identity, how you're spending your time. The kind of the most important thing is make the list, figure out exactly where you're at, what you're doing that's dumb, and go in and try to start working and fixing that. Now, here's the thing, you're probably not going to be able to do that on your own. Why? because you're used to your comfort zone and you're going to justify. And if you break the word justify apart, it's just a lie. It's the lie you tell yourself to keep doing dumb shit. So unless you have a high performance person, unless you have a successful person come into your life and go, hey, this is the stuff you're doing. And typically that person, sometimes you don't like them very much. There were certain people that taught me a lot. I didn't like them very much, but they were high performance people that were like, why do you do that? You know, I tried to come up with my great reason why, and they were like, yeah, that your reason doesn't override the fact that you're doing dumb shit that's not helping you, that you'll never be successful on that pace. So why not look at rearranging that? Why not look at cutting some of it out? Why not looking at doing it at a different time sometimes? Why not looking, you know, there's a bunch of different options. But talking to a high performance person, they're going to be able to teach you this, you know, and especially in direct sales and network marketing. Now, one of the first things people do that I see is they're like, well, who should I talk to? And if I look at most people's schedule inside of direct sales and network marketing, they're chasing people. They're spending all their time trying to find people. And I'm like, well, that's inefficient, right? That's taking a lot of time. What if you had a source of leads to always go to? Well, then that's one huge major brain function of searching for people, because people get depressed searching for people like, oh, I need to build my business, but I have to go look for people. I have to go search. I'm going to have to go online. I'm going to have to go into Facebook groups, because there's all these different contacting techniques, right? And then you get worn out. You're like worn out just thinking about what it's going to take to go find everybody versus starting out with a list of people to talk to every day. Then it becomes super easy. So that's what I kind of set myself up to do. And where did I learn that? I learned that from one of my coaches, David Bird. David Bird said, look, if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're in recruiting, then you should have your list ready the day before. I was like, oh, that's an interesting principle. He goes, think about it. So that way you wake up, you get done with whatever you're doing, and when you start working your business, you're not looking for people. You already have the list ready. Now it's just, what do I need to do with this list? I got to contact the list. Got to contact the list, however that is, whether it's, you know, Facebook, email. I recommend text message because nobody answers their phone. Nobody's looking at your fucking email. Nobody's looking at that. If you're in network marketing, direct sales. Now, if you're a giant company and you work for a Fortune 500 company and you have a subscriber list of 25 million, email away. But if you're in direct sales or network marketing, your technique better be something that people are actually transacting. Now, it has a little bit to do with age group, but text messaging across the board. I don't care if you're 14, you know, because my niece, is she 13 or 14? Or is she 15? 14 to 15.
She's 14.
Right. She'll be 15 this July. So, which means she's a year away from driving. That's awesome. She text messages. My 90-year-old grandmother text messages. My 70-year-old mom, 69-year-old mom, she'll kill me. She's like, I'm not 70 yet. Text messages. My dad, text messages. My friends, text messages. So text messaging really, you know, when you look at the most likely form, now the next thing is how you're text messaging. Right? You have to become aware what works and what doesn't. Hey, go look at this video. Nobody wants to see your fucking video. Why? Because they don't even know what it is. And people who don't know what it is aren't going to look at shit. Mm-hmm. So instead, I put it in the form of writing, so that way they have no choice. I say, hey, do you have 3 minutes to read something? First of all, I'd kind of say, hey, what are you doing right now, right? Then I would say, you got 3 minutes to read something? And they always ask, what is it? I was like, hey, just need a huge favor. Project I'm working on. Want you to know about it. If you run across the right person, you can send them our way. Everybody's like, cool, send it. Every time. Every time. You got 3 minutes to read something? Yeah, what is it? And then I shoot over a text message. It's a pre-written presentation, is what it is. It's a presentation that goes over the industry, it goes over the company, it goes over the product, it goes over the compensation plan, it goes over the timing, and then it has a call to action. It's like, look, if you want more information on this, we're building this is what we're doing, this is who we're looking for, but if you want more information on this, you need to text me back, send me the video that covers the rest of it. That's the next step. Me, personally, if I send that out to 100 people, I have over a third of people asking for the video. Third, that's over 30 people. Then, when I send the video, I say, look, once you're done with this, if you want to move to the next step, all you have to do is text me back, how do I get started? Then we'll get on the phone and discuss kind of what it's about. A third of the people I send a video to text me back, how do I get started? Then I just book an appointment to kind of read what I sent them to begin with. I read it to them. I say, look, I'm just going to read this to you so that way we have clarity. Once we have clarity and we have congruency, because I'm saying the same thing that I sent, what happens is these things start building trust and kind of the process. They're like, oh yeah, I could, this is pretty simple. Because people are like, well, I'm not good at talking to people. I'm like, well, I haven't talked up until now. They're like, oh yeah, you didn't even talk to me. You just sent me. I said, so what you're telling me is you're scared to send text messages. See how much easier it is to overcome an objection like that? It's like you're scared to send text messages. They're like, no, but I don't know how to talk to people. I said, I know. When they say, how do I get started? You're going to send them to me, and then you're going to hear me do this. Oh, I could do that.
Yeah. Or at least for the first few times, and then eventually you're going to learn to do it on your own.
Yeah, and then I teach them to read it. So, real tough stuff.
And that's the difference. Like, so many people are just like, oh, but I can't present. And I'm like, you are literally reading your presentation. And like, people are super nervous about it when they start. And they're like, oh man, did I sound okay? And I'm just honest with them. I'm like, look, you're going to sound like a robot for the first week. But then once you get comfortable, then it's going to sound more like it flows. And honestly, I've told people a couple of times, I'm like, look, I'm just going to read something to you just to make sure that I don't miss anything and I stay on track. And everybody's like, cool. I even had a girl that we were training where she completely messed it up like halfway through. She was doing really good through the entire thing. And then like halfway through, she kind of fumbled a little bit. And then she was like, it was really cool because like I fumbled, my mind went blank for a second because I was so nervous. That she's like, but I found my spot again. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. So that's also the beauty of having it completely written out, especially when you're new, because the person on the phone's not going to know one way or another. Anybody who's had to be on the phone with customer service as of late, it's actually a lot easier. So it's just a lot easier to do that with new people because it takes away that fear of what am I going to say? Because a lot of people, when they try to do a presentation, it's all over the fucking place. Because they're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to tell you about what I like rather than what's actually important. It's
personality driven versus persuasion driven.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap. That's what we got for today. Tomorrow is chapter 5. Great book. Some discrepancies between what I love, but if you like what we're doing, if you like what we're saying, if you happen to be in direct sales or network marketing and you're stuck and you're trying to figure out how to do this, the very first thing that people ask me is who do I talk to? And they need leads. So what we did is we're putting this together as a program. Is I bought an incredible amount of leads, like stupid amount. I bought an entire company's database for a year. So we have a lot. And what we're doing is we're giving away 1,000 leads to anybody who goes and registers with joinmyleadershipnetwork.com. Joinmyleadershipnetwork.com, which is our training company. We're giving you 1,000 work from home leads along with our text message marketing system so you'll know how to contact people. So if you go over to that, now if you're already part of what we're doing, no, you don't get an extra 1,000 leads for signing up because you can't sign up twice. The computer won't let you. So that is who we are, what we do, why we're doing it. And really, this stuff is to keep us on track. We liked going through all this material. And what I found myself doing is I hyper-focus. So I'll read like 50 books and then not read anything for like 3 months and then come back and read another one and then not do anything for 2 months and then read 20 books. Like it's just all over the place. So this kept me on a consistent pace. When I look back, I was reading over 25 books a year. 25 books a year, over 2 a month, doing this kind of show. So that's why we came back to it, to get through the material as a coaching company, as a mentorship for leadership purposes. It's to keep us on track and, you know, kind of helps us organize what we're doing. So I appreciate everyone for being on. Until tomorrow.
Yep. And also, all these videos are going to be uploaded to YouTube. So you want to go subscribe to us on YouTube, because that way if you guys want to come back, you want to rewatch this, you are more than welcome to go there. Also, for any links that we might post, if we have anything that we're going over where you want information, a lot of those links are going to be posted there as well if we have anything going on where you want to subscribe to it, or if you want to know what book we're covering, where to get it, if we're, because we're also going to be going over conventions on this show as well. Any big trainings that we go to, we're going to be bringing back our notes. And if it's something that you want to go through, we're going to have those links there. So you want to make sure you go follow our YouTube channel. Also, we are on Instagram and TikTok, so you want to follow those as well. So with that, we will see you guys tomorrow, and thank you for joining.